All right, out here again this morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's a little chilly. I've already kind of started to sweat a little bit and I'm feeling a little chill. So it's probably, there was frost on the truck this morning, so if that gives you any indicator of how cold it is. Got my mud mixed up. I made it a little wet. There it is. And the reason I make it wet is I'm out here by myself today. So by the time it sits on my board and, by the time I get to about halfway or 3/4, I'll be ready to make some more. So it'll last. I won't have to mess with it. Got my block laid out. This is the top course. So there's 3 runs that are going on this. The top course is going to be partially exposed, most likely. I haven't yet decided. It's going to at least be 4 inches out. So I have to make sure that this one is jointed and I don't get too much mortar on the outside, because then I'm going to have to hit it with a wire brush. My bet is when we go to fill this with concrete, we're going to get concrete all outside of the wall anyway. So I might opt to just spraying it with some primer and calling it a day, because I'm not one for just spending so much time scraping and rubbing with acid and anyways cleaning it up. I'm more of a let's get it done kind of guy. And out here, gosh, we've got a footer and stem wall, so we're doing it right. Trying to keep it clean, but I'm going to try and capture some of this day. Like I said, I'm out here by myself, so I'll just post it up and do maybe a time lapse. That's probably the best way to do it. The problem with the time lapses is they take up so much memory, and I might just stop in the middle of it, get a couple shots. So here we go, stem wall action. Staking and rebar. I've already done this on the other side, and you saw it in the corners already. Every 32 inches or every 4 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4. Depending on how tall your wall is, that's about how long you're going to want this. You can also splice them. When you get up so high, you just add, 4 feet or 2 feet or whatever. These work out just fine for me to do a 36 inch, I want to say, bar and drill it in. The concrete with this go over here and drill one just so you can see it. Well, I want it to be in the center of the hole. Okay, it's about 4 inches down, maybe good enough. Why not? Get your sledgehammer. Get your hammer. Put it in the hole, and depending on the size of the rebar, obviously that's the size of the drill bit you want, but oh yeah, the one-handed hammer. So anyways, you would drive that down, and notice how it's not perfectly straight. The rebar might be bent a little bit, or maybe I didn't drill my hole perfectly straight. You can always bend them in place. Rebar is thick, but it's unless it's like a number 10 or something, you can always move it. So go through and drill and stick my rods, and I'll go to another row. Here, got our jointer tool. It's probably like between $6 and $10 depending on where you're at, and it has two different sizes of joints, and I'm just using the wider one, kind of going through. Let me see if I can't get this. Just go through, drag it, and like this one, it's such a hard shot to get. There we go. And as you can see, it kind of makes this little indent. Look down it, you can really see it. So this is exposed block. You don't have to do this if it's going to be buried. Only joint your exposed block, and it'll make it a little bit more decorative and look more complete. It's just something that it's those little details that really matter when you're building stuff. You can just leave it. I've seen block all over the place, especially in a residential setting that doesn't have this, and it's fine. No one's gonna shut you down. It's nothing to do with the structural. I mean, it does help kind of pack it in to your joint a little bit, but other than that, it's just decorative. So I'm gonna finish this up, move on to another part. Okay, so now that the stem wall is done, it's time to put the insulation in between the concrete, the cinder block wall, and the slab and gravel. So to do that, I've got 2-inch thick. This is it's not polystyrene, but it's a extruded foam board It's R10 is the R rating. So this is going to be the insulation board that's going to separate the outside freezing temperature from infiltrating the slab. This is also going to be key for our under slab heating unit. So this is going to keep the core temperature of the soil underneath the house regulated. So instead of going out there and field measuring, I know exactly what I need. Since this material is up here, I'm going to use the table saw and just rip it down to what I need. I've cut this stuff with the table saw before. A little messy, but it's a lot better than just scoring it, popping it, and then I've broken them in half before. So this is the fancy way to do it. Normally you just take a knife, score it, and then break it. I'm not set up for sawhorses down there yet, and I'm up here. So, so I'll do this and then go to the installation process. Nice and easy. Man, that stuff is so amazing to cut. You just push it as fast as you push it, and my dust collection did a really good job. I would not advise cutting this with a skill saw without dust collection because I'm sure it's toxic. All right, let's go install it. Got the foam insulation installed. I'm going to leave this high until once I get gravel on it, then I can cut it off flush. But so we can kind of look at this from a different angle. Down here is flush. So I went around with the chisel, chisel, chipped out all the grout that was on the edge so that the foam can lay flat with the footer. Comes up, and then you see this gap here. So we want 4 inches of slab, and there's 4 inches of slab. And there's actually going to be another piece of foam that's going to come out this way. So that 2-inch gap that's above this is going to rest right there, and we should be left with just about 4 inches around the edge. And this is going to be our insulation border. Let's see how we did our penetration here. Just put some sand around it for the time being, and when I go in, I'm going to try and leave this spot open when I go to backfill until I get plumbing done. But still need to pull the water sleeve, but it looks pretty good. Can't complain. Now I'm going to start doing some gravel and moving some earth. So I always get kind of carried away when I start the process and forget to pull my phone out and capture some of the footage, but this is self-explanatory as far as installation goes. Here's how I do my corners. So I just, whichever side I start with, as long as they lock in, you don't want a gap in the corners. Gonna jump in that machine. Oh, and I left that wall without any insulation intentionally because I'm probably not going to be able to get gravel over here today. I'm going to leave that for another day. If I have time later today, I will. But as far as opportunity, there's no rain today, so I'm going to go ahead and do some earthwork.